Hey everybody, welcome back to Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Couple things before we get into our show. First of all, if you got any questions or comments on the show, email me, john@wordballoon.com. Follow me on Twitter. That's where I do most of my talking, @JohnWordBalloon. You can follow me also on Facebook under my name, John Suntress, and also the Word Balloon Network. Tell a friend. I also am on Instagram under Word Balloon. If you get this show via podcasting platforms, please rate it or write a review if you don't mind. You can write me a bad review. You can give me bad stars, but like me as well as the opportunity presents itself. Also, I have a YouTube channel, Word Balloon. Please go there and subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. I have over 500 subscribers. I'm trying to get over 1,000. I'd like to add more video content, so please consider doing all that to support Word Balloon. And now, back to the show.
Terrificon, Connecticut's biggest Comic-Con, returns to Mohegan Sun, August 9th to the 11th. Meet Billy D. Williams, Val Kilmer, Doctor Who's John Barrowman, and the voices from Animaniacs and Thundercats. New England's largest guest list of comic book artists from DC and Marvel Comics is at Terrificon on August 9th to the 11th at Mohegan Sun. Tickets on sale now at Terrificon.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. We continue our streak. We have a great conversation with Brian Bendis. Brian last week went to New York for a Midtown Comics signing and a guest appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers. Both went really well. He also got to see To Kill a Mockingbird with the original cast, Jeff Daniels, the Tony Award-winning reboot, if you will, in Broadway terms of the classic play and film. And that's really cool, and, so he got to do some really fun stuff. And I know he's really jazzed about it and wanted to talk about it, so he came on. And you'll hear, he's very self-conscious that, am I bragging? Is that, I don't think so. I think, this is an interesting time when comic book creators are finally getting the attention they deserve from big media, and that's excellent. And, if that means that, a guy like Hugh Jackman is on stage and says, Len, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Len Wein. And thank God before Len Wein passed away, Marvel did right by him, and he got a nice Wolverine check in a way that a lot of other creators haven't for various things that have made it to TV and film. And obviously that's getting better. But again, more importantly, I think people are being recognized from their work. I slightly laugh when I say that because you're going to hear what Bendis said, and obviously all the respect. Another guest that I may have in a day or two has a very different story, and I can't wait to share with you, so that's going to be a lot of fun. A little teaser for an episode to come. But this episode is great, and Brian's self-conscious. Again, he's like, am I bragging? I'm like, no, man, you did some fun stuff, and it's great to hear what it's like behind the scenes of Late Night and being on as a late night guest, and Brian gets into that, compares his last appearance on the show, and I think it kind of shows that I think these creators are starting to get the respect they deserve, and that's fantastic. And I think we all win because of that, as this stuff gets better known. And I'll tell you, he spent a lot of time talking about the Legion, and we talk about that, of course. We talk about Event Leviathan that's still underway. We did just talk last month about Superman, and a little bit about what's to come in both the Millennium event that's coming up in September, and then, of course, that dovetails into Brian's Legion of Superheroes run. So all of that is among the coverage that we give you tonight on today's Word Balloon. It's all brought to you by the League of Word Balloon listeners. Thank you greatly, League, for your support. I'll tell you, how about that? It's a new month, and thanks a lot. A lot of people came in at the end of last month to jump in and subscribe to Word Balloon, and I thank you via Patreon. Word Balloon is free. If you like what I do, if you want to help the cause out, I'm trying to really kick in gear this year with Word Balloon, and obviously also had the setback of the infection and the time off from radio work, but things are moving in the right direction for Word Balloon. I want to keep the momentum going, and I thank you for your support in doing that, League of Word Balloon listeners, by subscribing to Patreon. You can go to patreon.com. That's where my portal is, or you can click on the Patreon ad on the front page of wordballoon.com, and that will take you there too. But thank you greatly for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. This Word Balloon is also brought to you by Aftershock Comics. They're having a great year. I'm looking forward to seeing some Aftershock people at Terrificon coming up in a week and a half. They are putting on some amazing books, things like Garth Ennis' Walk Through Hell, Dark Red from Tim Seeley, Dark Arc from Cullen Bunn and Juan Doe, Donny Cates' Baby Teeth, Animosity from Marguerite Bennett. Really great books. They're working with some of the top writers on artists and some of the brightest news stars in the creative community. And they've got new upcoming titles as well, like Cullen Bunn's Knights Temporal and also Matthew Klickstein's You Are Obsolete. But they've had other great books as well, like Joe Pruitt's horror anthology, Shock. Cannot wait to talk to Joe Pruitt about what he's doing at Aftershock, what he did back in the day with Desperado and Caliber. Really, a guy that I met a couple times at conventions, and I really appreciate his creative eye. He's the right kind of editor, man. And you can find that in his anthology, Shock. I think their Volume 3 is going to be coming out very soon. So in the weeks ahead, we'll be talking to people like Joe and other Aftershock creators about their books. But you don't have to wait. Go to their website. You'll find full story descriptions, preview pages, and the diamond codes on these books to order through your local shop at AftershockComics.com. All right, let's get into it. Our new conversation with Brian Bendis, an easy, casual one. It's a brief one. It's only 90 minutes. Here it is now on Word Balloon. Welcome back to another Bendis Tapes.
Hello.
There he is. How are you?
I'm back from New York.
Yeah, man. This is
a special edition. I'm talking to you fresh from that whirlwind trip to New York right in the middle of summer.
I feel like Sam Drucker and your Eddie Albert on Green Acres. And so, what was it like in the big city, Mr. Douglas?
Any reference from this century that you'd like to throw out?
Literally. Is there a good bump? I mean, can there be bumpkins in today's? I don't think so in today's connected world. You know. So
anyway, I'm just move on. You're gonna stay in Green Acres. I'm gonna move forward.
I love that show.
Okay. So
I do.
You are that show. So yeah. Listen, this was a crazy week. This is a really crazy one, and the headline is thank you to everyone, particularly Midtown Comics. We had a signing. They've been asking me to do like a proper signing for years, and I've done some like special events there, but like not like a let's sit your ass down and sign everything signing.
Okay.
And so I got to tell you, it went on for hours and hours, and what I didn't understand was that outside Midtown Comics was making it like a party, and like people were having a very good time. By the time they got to me, they were we're having the best time. I'm like, great, why? What's happening? Like I was like so happy that everyone was having such a good time. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out. That was insane.
Cool.
Yeah, I had a I don't know how else to put it. I had that thing you do moment. I was just walking down the street, and then someone said hi, and then I turned around, and it was like that line of people. And normally I'm just home alone, and there's no line of people. Like I'm just at the supermarket. So it was. So I was confused what was going on. It was very sweet, and I don't mean to be braggy. It was just really surreal.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's great.
It was super surreal.
I had finally gone to Midtown Comics for the first time last New York Comic Con. That's the first time I'd ever been. It's an amazing store. I mean, it really is a great. And we have great Chicago stores, but that's a great multi-floored store where you can pretty much find everything. Yeah,
and it was just very great energy. It was the kind of energy you always hope for. You've been there where like sometimes the signing gets crabby.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that at all. It was just beautiful. So,
what was the weirdest? What was this like? What was? Oh my god! I can't like any Caliber comics signed. Any? As I always ask, any Flaxen comics?
Yeah, people really like when I post like the weird shit I signed.
Yeah.
Like I signed a bunch of Supermans. But like some and people are like going out of the way to find like cool stuff for me to sign. So I posted. The highlight would have been some Lego knockoff Superman figure for the Avengers. Like
wow,
it's Superman, great. But it's and it's American, and he found it in some bodega. It's always some bodega.
I love those. Yes,
yeah,
those are always the best. Yes.
So stuff like that, and like limited edition Jessica Jones prints that were only given away at a Netflix party.
Oh, fun.
There's like funky, cool stuff like that all over the place. And every once in a while, someone pulls out like a Jessica Jones or Miles thing I've never even seen or heard of before, and it's pretty cool. So it was the first time I'd done a signing since Spider-Verse. So it was a lot of kids, and it was just with a lot to say. It was really great. It was just a little bit of everything you'd ever want at a signing, all in one signing. So
excellent. And then I got to ask Mr. First Nighter, how was To Kill a Mockingbird?
Oh yeah, I skipped To Kill a Mockingbird. So
I wasn't going to let you get away.
We got really good seats. We got the VIP people didn't pick up their seats,
Wow, great.
So we got good seats. We're like fourth row, and it's Jeff Daniels was full cast, Arron Sorkin.
Sure.
I had a really great experience in the theater with it. It was really great to see Arron Sorkin adapt another writer's writing so well.
Sure.
And not get he's so strong that you think he might overpower her in some places, and he never did. But he's there, but only in service of helping her, right? And it's really something. And more exceptional is Jeff Daniels, who I've been a fan of, since forever.
Sure.
Seeing him do something he can't do on film, and doing it on stage is something you've never seen him do before. Is really special. And he's probably one of the best Sorkin readers of all time. You can't hear any of the Sorkinisms.
That's cool. Yeah. Because I know that. I mean, as you say, I've heard Sorkin honors the original Harper Lee material, but that said, he did kind of modernize a couple things.
No, he did, and all for the betterment of the product. And you can't help and having. I know this sounds stupid, but I couldn't help filter it through the decisions I had to make, like on Ultimate Spider-Man, where I'm adapting, but any change I'm making isn't to make it I think I know better. It's I really feel Stan would do this if he had the opportunity. You know what I mean?
I do.
If the opportunities and the language were there, this all seems within the realm of the story that was being told. So I was processing those choices through there, and it seemed to me that Sorkin had delivered what he thought she would want out of it. You know what I mean? In today's audience. Now, the one thing I did see that I thought was hilarious, first of all, you hear the best overheard dialogue inside a Broadway theater in New York on a Tuesday night. You just hear the most ridiculous New York lines of dialogue. My favorite, I wrote it down. My favorite was, "Excuse me, ma'am, not for nothing. I don't mean to be rude, but can you take that shit and that dog get the fuck out of here?" That was my favorite. And then there's someone behind us.
That was Helen Hayes, ladies and gentlemen. That's it.
Yeah, I know. And then someone, and then you just hear it, but you don't see the situation. You just hear someone say that.
That was in the theater.
Yeah, and then you hear someone said, "Oh, and then we adopted a dog from Beth Stern. You know Beth. She's Howard Stern's wife. She's so amazing. She totally changed him into a better person." I didn't know what was going on with the first. That was my favorite. Yeah, my wife just grabs my hand because she knows I'm gonna burst out laughing because she can hear it too. It's so funny. Anyway, so it was a great night, but my favorite was it's To Kill a Mockingbird, and obviously the reason it's resonating so strongly with audiences that it feels like it was written today. Everything it's speaking of as timely as this morning's headlines. And there's a couple points within the play where that becomes jarringly obvious, right?
Okay.
And at one point, the Tuesday night audience went, in unison went, "Oh." Right?
All right.
At racism. Oh, man, we still have that.
Yeah.
You could see, and from my seat, you could just see Jeff Daniels is kind of done with the role. he's kind of had enough. It was very funny.
Wow. I'm glad that he was still doing it because it's been over a year.
He's almost done. But when the audience went, "Oh," you could see him going, I totally enjoyed it. Very subtle. He never broke character. It was just you just look in his eyes and you can tell.
I've really enjoyed him comparing him to Gregory Peck and everything, and I've loved hearing his interviews talking about it and everything.
Yeah, very. And then when you're sitting up there watching him, and he's as good as Gregory Peck in this role, and you're like, you know what Gregory Peck couldn't do? Dumb and Dumber. So
get off my back, Jim Carrey. I don't.
So who's a better
what
actor? That's right.
I understand.
So we had this great New York experience. We had a great Broadway show, and then we had a great signing, and then it was off for Seth Meyers on Thursday. So it was just like boom, boom, boom was the trip.
I'll tell you, when I saw the lineup, and it was Michael Moore, 2 Chainz, Brian Bendis, I'm like, all right, I can see those 3 people in a steam room together. Sure. Why not?
Well, Michael Moore was very nice, very gracious, gave me a lot of great advice for my kids who want to make films and stuff. And
wow.
Genuinely kind, warm man.
Did he know who you were? I'm not trying to put you,
I don't know. He found out.
That's fine.
We're in the makeup room and together, and he said, "Hey, Brian," and started
that's really nice. Yeah.
He was kind, and so it was very nice. And 2 Chainz looked at me and kept walking.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, totally. No, he was like, "I'm not looking for friends. It's okay."
Yeah.
But it's always funny when someone gives you the eye and goes, "Yeah, I got time for this." Which is always better than saying hi. Honestly, I like he walked by me, my wife just started laughing. He just gave us the look, like, "No, not today."
Well, when Michael Moore was out first, and he obviously it's right after the Mueller report, so he's very passionate and whipping up the crowd and stuff. And I'm like, oh no, the musical act is usually like the wrap up, so Brian will probably be on next. I'm like, oh no, man, he's gonna come out. Hi, Superman, how you doing? Batman, yeah, great. You could just see people go, well, that's not. And no, I don't mean from the audience. I mean from people at home being like, I don't know who this is. Boy, Michael Moore just really whipped me up. Let me see that Kojak rerun. What the hell's going on? I'm like, oh no. And then 2 Chainz came on and said, good. Okay, good. Because it did flow better. And you're in that Calvin Trillam old Tonight Show, again, old reference. But the author, the author usually is the wrap up and stuff. All right, let's
what a reference that was. Oh, that was hilarious.
Calvin Trillam. Let's get Carl Sagan on now. Am I wrong? All right. Hey, Gore Vidalish got a new book. Let's sit down with Gore. All right.
That's right.
Well, it's the truth, man. Now, Cavett would be first. Cavett.
No, honestly, it was. So my day was a little different. It was. We did a podcast earlier in the day.
Yeah.
So they had me come in earlier.
Have they posted it?
Yeah, I think they're going to post it next. I don't know when they're posting it,
okay,
but we did it was a cool invite because I know what they're nerdy about, behind the scenes. I know what the buildup was to have me come on, and everything we were talking about, I think the audience would like to know about, particularly
cool.
Our audience.
Cool.
And so when they said, "Hey, you want to come in and do the podcast?" I said, "Yeah," and have Mike Schumacher come in too, because he is a giant Legion fan. That's why I was there, right?
Okay.
He used to write the Legion with Jeff. So that was how nerdy, how inside us that show is.
Sure.
Is that both Seth and Mike Schumacher, the 2 people who run that show, have both professionally written mainstream comics.
That's true. There you go. Yeah.
Right. I say in the podcast, I go, here's 3 guys who've professionally written comics.
Oh, I'm sure they love that. That was great.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the viewers of Seth Meyers wouldn't know that.
Right. No, you're right about that. That's cool.
So we get into it a real deep dive nerdy conversation on the podcast, and you'll laugh because it's it's another example of this podcast, the one you and I are doing, mm-hmm. being the pre-interview. Or the comedy seller for some network thing, right?
I understand. That's good. That's cool. No, I'm excited to hear it. Honestly, I always think when Seth is on Fresh Air or a podcast or something like that, smart dude. I mean, obviously,
super smart, very kind, and runs a very good ship. And what I mean is, when he's not around, everybody's super kind and not stressed out.
Good.
And sometimes you've been on sets or in situations where you go, "Oh, this is a painful situation, right?"
Yep.
For everybody here. But there you could see everyone was having a very good time, and The energy was like I was there in their early goings the first time I was there.
Yeah.
So here they are more established and they know what kind of show they are now. And so it was cool to see that it had retained its joy.
Terrific.
You know?
Yeah, man. No, that's a grind 5 days a week or even 4 days a week, an hour-long show like that. And yeah, man, ESPN, Sports Center, not a pleasant set. Very, very,
really?
very high pressure. Well, it was back in the day, in the 90s.
Sure.
Very high pressure. When somebody screwed up, everybody, it was bad. And they'd have like a post-show kind of, okay, Jimmy dropped the glass during the set, not during the segment, not a good idea. You know, and it's like, ooh, Jesus, I couldn't, I'd turn gray overnight. So that's cool. That's great. And especially, late night TV's in a weird place right now. With the segmented audience,
It's an incredibly unnatural way to communicate with each other. Just so people understand. And I know a lot of people do understand this, but so there's like a pre-interview, right? Mm-hmm. And so you talk to a pre-interview person for about 45 minutes of material, and they then go to Mike and Seth, and some of it I've already gone over because in talking to Mike to get me on the show, I already had a good sense of what they wanted to talk about, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so, so then I give her what I think they wanted, right, from what I know, and then she presents it to them, and then they pick out what they want me to say from what I want to say, and then they come back to me and go, here are the 3 things they want to focus on of all the things you said, and then you come on stage, and then he sets them up for you to say them. It's like that's not how people talk,
right? Of course not.
So it's a genuine performance of a conversation, right?
Yep.
It's a rehearsed performance of a conversation. That is. I know people know that, but for people who actually just have conversations for a living, it's very strange to then go perform one. So yeah, and now that I've done it twice, I realized what it felt like, and I couldn't wrap my head around it the first time, but the second time it genuinely feels the same as like a roller coaster ride, like an amusement park ride, like at Disney, like you're waiting for the Cars ride. There's a lot of waiting, right? And the waiting is fun too. The waiting is a lot of fun. You're like, there's stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. And then you wait for like a 4-minute thing.
Right.
It takes about 4 minutes. And then it's over. Like I'm the last guest and it's a Thursday. They go home the minute I'm done talking. Like the lights are turned off the second the TV go, they got a weekend, right?
Yeah.
So, and everyone's kind, but right, it's empty. So you're literally like 20 minutes later, you're out on the street and you've literally gone through the NBC gift shop. So you're like, it's really like you go through the ride. It's a great ride. That was fun. You walk through a gift shop and then you're out on the street and you go, that was cool. Oh, it's closed. Okay. It's over. Let's go find something to eat.
So, I wondered what time of day do they tape? 5:30 local
6
time?
6 o'clock, 5:30. Like our podcast, we did at like 3.
Okay.
And so I was able to just to chill around all afternoon if I wanted. We came and went so we could pretend we were Saturday Night Live cast members.
Sure.
So we had security clearance so we could go through the elevators all day. So we just kept doing it. And I'm Amy Poehler. So
did you run into any other NBC people like SNL people or anything?
It's a summer on a Thursday.
That's true. Yeah, of course not. Yeah,
I remember because I've been there a few times before years ago, and I know it sounds all braggy, and I apologize, but I just to remind everybody, 99% of the year I don't leave my house. So when I do, we really do aim at the cool stuff, but most of the time I'm in my pajamas. But years ago, they invited us. Someone invited Matt to go watch them film Saturday Night Live, watch them make a Saturday Night Live.
Sure.
And Matt dragged me with him, and that was a fascinating day.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
All day. We really got to watch him make the sausage for hours.
Oh, so you not only saw the taping, but also a dress rehearsal and whatever.
We saw a dress rehearsal, a taped rehearsal. We watched them pull apart the rehearsal to put the live show together. And then watch what sketches they were fighting over, and to watch one of those sketches pop up a year later, reworked was fascinating. But I saw, like, my point was we got to see Rockefeller Center at it like when there's a lot going on.
Sure.
Like when the halls are filled with celebrities and nonsense.
Yeah.
But so this is a much lower key version of that.
You're right, and again, you're right. Summertime. This is definitely the only network show that's like, other than game shows. If game shows are running out of New York anymore, I don't know.
No, they're filming a bunch of stuff there, but it was cool and it was chill. Yeah, I gotta say it was. You only get the one shot, and
Sure.
and it's so natural and not way, and I'm so. Fashionably tragic. Everything about it is not to my strength. So it was a week of, I literally, and for people who wanted to know, I literally did a George Costanza of my fashion instinct. Whatever my fashion instinct was, I did the opposite.
You did the opposite.
And I just listened to my wife, and I just did whatever she said. And even when I started to like gently argue, no, these are the shoes we're wearing. I'm wrong every time. Look at YouTube. You're wrong every time. So I listened, and it was awesome. The other cool thing they did was the only thing I really since I lost the weight was I got bags under my eyes that are totally age appropriate, and I just wish they weren't there. But I'm not gonna ever I'm not gonna do anything about it.
I understand. I have those as well. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, we do. It's just, you wish they weren't there, and I know. But while I was there, she goes, "Oh, we have something," and she put this little dab on, and it literally tightened the bags under my eyes to the point where they almost went away for 3 hours, and then it went away, and then it went back to normal. But it was for 3 hours I was beautiful.
It's like that. There's like an infomercial commercial about that where there's an old man, and not that we're old, but they're dabbing for the bags, and it doesn't disappear. So it doesn't surprise you that exists in the TV makeup situation.
No, it did. They it's funny because of the whatever weird thing that's on your face, they have something for it, And I said, and then she was just looking at me. I go, yeah, and also for the amount of weight I've lost. I'm very lucky how my skin's hanging.
Yes.
I'm really lucky.
Oh, you could be turkey
really
neck. Absolutely, man. You could totally be.
I had no control over that.
Sure.
And so they were, just they had some good tips about how to handle all that. It was fun.
No, and you honestly, then Elisa did a great job because you did. You looked good.
Yeah.
You didn't look overly dressed. You didn't look underly dressed. You looked casual, cool. And believe me, as someone who's had to watch himself on TV, it'd be like, schmuck.
Yeah.
It's no, I get it. And truly, I was. I'm like, oh, he looks good. Okay, good.
So the first time I was on, which was a miracle, and so people who don't care much about this as you and I do, the reason I do love this show, I love Seth and I love the show, and I also love the legacy of the show, which is Letterman. This is Letterman's show. It's Letterman Studio.
Yes.
And that show was so fucking important to me that I would set my alarm for 12:30. Like in high school, I would get up at 12:30 at night, watch Letterman, so I would have it in my head during the day at school.
I get it. I was
I have it that's I love that show.
I was the same way. Absolutely, man. That was a hip show. That was the it show when we were kids. That show was made for our generation because, and nothing, I mean, Johnny was still Johnny, but this was like the alt comedy show. This is where
Letterman was everything to me, and it's a big part of the writing voice that I have. And but when you were watching it growing up, he was so irreverent with his guests and stuff that he, and it's funny, people on my Twitter feed are like, I can't believe we live in a day and age where late night talk show hosts are having comic book people on. And I'm like, no, Letterman had comic book people on. Letterman had Harvey Pekar and Robert Crumb. Yes. He had Harvey Pekar on. Yep. And he had Harvey Pekar on a lot. And as we talked about years ago, but I think we can bring it up again. It's been years. And also there's been an update, is that Letterman used to treat Harvey like shit. He had him on as a goof. He had him on Brother Theodore.
Yes, exactly.
Like a carnival act,
absolutely,
right?
Yes.
But we all know that Harvey, though a character, was a literary giant, right?
Yep.
So it would always bother me, being such a big fan of Letterman's, that he was so disrespectful on every level to Harvey, right? And then shockingly this year, of all the things for Letterman to bring up on thing, Letterman brings up publicly that the one thing he really wished he would have done over is how he treated Harvey Pekar.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's great. That's great to hear.
On Stern, and he goes, now I know that Harvey was, hold on a second.
Yeah, I heard.
Is that, I'm sorry, I'm getting.
It's the bad phone, sir.
Yeah, the David Marquez phone. So,
hi, David.
That I was shocked and delighted that of all the things that have ever bothered me about my hero David Letterman was how he treated Harvey Pekar, and he figured it out. Amazing.
Yeah, that is cool. No, I agree with you, man.
So he brought it up. He brought it up on the Mark Maron podcast.
I did. I remember that. Sure. Yeah.
Maron or Howard Stern, but I was on my bike and I was almost pulled over. I was so shocked. Right, that he had figured that out.
Sure.
So even as a young child, I would watch this and I go, "What a dream it would be to be on that show, but to be treated like he treats Mike Nichols or like how he treats like
one of the Pythons." Yeah.
Like how he treats guests with respect.
Right.
And that's what Seth Meyers has done to all of us.
That's great. Hey, man.
Sure.
Yeah, King did a great job. Alex Ross did a great job last year when he was on. And no, it's very obvious that Seth likes comics. And hey, man, right there with the Ryan Sook, Legion money shot and everything.
Right?
That's great. That was
right.
Great.
Like, and I was so happy to tell Ryan, like before it aired, Seth said you're like one of his favorite artists. He said it on camera. So that was pretty cool to share with all my collaborators. Yeah. The one mistake I made for people who watched it is he said Miles Morales and I said, co-created. And so sometimes people mistakenly say created and I have to gently, they don't understand how it works. And so you just gently, tell them. And I was about to say Sarah Pacelli's name, but I was so startled by the applause that came with the mention of Miles Morales that I didn't know what was happening. I forgot that Miles is a movie star now. That's not the world I've lived in the last 8 years. So it was delightful and charming. And I hope that didn't sound braggy. I was thrown by the thing, but I meant to say Sarah's name on the air. I'm sorry, I didn't.
I understand, man. No, and truly, you're right. And especially when you're having this unnatural conversation, for applause to happen spontaneously or a good laugh from something. And that's the thing, man. And literally, again, someone that has done local television, it's like, oh, he's riding the laugh good. All right, that was good. And it's like you're letting the applause happen, you're letting the laughs happen. That's good, man. You got to leave that. You got to leave that pause. Let him do it.
And also, but the thing I do that I shouldn't do, and it's okay. How many more times I'm going to be on TV like this? But is that you're really not supposed to play to the audience in the studio that much, because that energy isn't happening to the audience at home. So but we're so used to doing convention panels that when you get any kind of reaction, you just react to it, right? Sure. So that's I'm being picky. Never mind.
No, but believe me.
But also, I'm not a professional comedian, so any laugh on any level is such a fucking relief. It's such a deep, it's beyond. And the one laugh that I got that I was delighted by because I didn't deserve it was the show, particularly because of the Mueller report and everything, was so dire. Like all the news was so bad that when I came on and said, hey, the Legion takes place 1,000 years in the future. Hey, congrats, there's a future.
Yes.
The audience genuinely applauded. Oh, that was the best news they've heard in about 45 minutes. Like, there's been no good news in this room. So it was very funny that the reaction was so genuine.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I know. I like it. I literally was watching it as it was happening, and I almost was texting Brian while it was heavy, but I'm like, no, he and Elisa are watching. I don't want to mess them up. But yeah, that's.
No,
I mean, truly, I'm like,
I
it's like you are. You're. I mean, a lot of my friends have done national television before, and when I see it happen, it's like, all right, do a good segment, do a good, and it's like, all right, no, they did it, and it really is like watching a buddy that does stand up do their 4 minutes, and it's like, no, you nailed it. It was good. You were good. It was, and again, it's not that, I mean, I laughed at the line and stuff like that, but a lot of times, too, in your brain, because you're thinking along those same lines, like, no, that was funny. I'm not laughing out loud, but that was funny. Keep going. All right, good. So yeah, it was great, man.
No, he's outstanding when you go out there. Like, he's like, you can't tell when you're watching it, but he's like right in your face. He's right in the eyes.
Good.
And he's looking at you like an improv partner.
Yes.
Like, I got you. Go.
Yes.
Jump.
Yes.
Say whatever you want. I got it.
Yep.
And so it's a very fun energy when someone just looks at you like they're just delighted you're talking, knock yourself out. And so the whole time you feel like you're totally protected. Everything's fine. And then it's over. Yeah, it's crazy. And also, I don't know why I don't get nervous, and I unpack that. That's very strange. Like the day before, the day after, but not any time during the part.
That's excellent.
It's very surreal to me.
That's the skill of a good talk show host. Well, that's a good. I mean, honestly,
and
that's
it's
a difference.
so important.
Yeah,
it's so important to me, and I'm not. It's crazy.
Well, like you said, he's got a. That's a special skill for a host to make the guests feel comfortable. No, I'm listening to you. Go on. And again, that's the difference between a Seth Meyers, who's now done it for years, and a Chevy Chase, who couldn't get the hang of it. Frankly, and some other celebrities that they throw talk shows to, and it's not the same, and you can tell. Awesome, man.
Yeah, like he comes back and says hello to everybody. Like you can, and the stories of Letterman, right? So you can see it's a reaction to that. It's pretty cool. It's all like the best version.
That's excellent. Yeah, man.
The two things that, as long as we're unpacking, and I know a lot of people following us on this for a while. So that the last time I did this,
yes.
And you would just mention how cool it was that they had all these people on and how exciting it is to watch. The first time I was on, and it was such a shock to be on, of course, the producer comes in the room and he says very nicely, boy, I hope you do. I was the first comic book person on. And he goes, I hope you do really good. We'd love to have a bunch of comic book people on. I hope you do good. Do you know where Matt Fraction lives? I go, yeah, he's one of my best friends. I go, oh, great. And he walks out. So he's basically saying to me, if you do good, we'll have your friend on, which is not what he said at all, but that's what I heard.
Sure.
Now, if anybody else gets to ever do this show, it's on you, right? So I did the show, and I didn't screw it up. But then a couple months later, when they called Matt and invited him on, I took it so like a win for me. I did good. They told me. That was the measurement of me doing good, is if they invite you on. Yes, this is about me. So, and two other things is last time I was on, and it ended up being one of those big moments of life that my wife couldn't make it. She wasn't feeling well. She was still recovering from all that shit we were going through years ago, and and we just deal with it, right? Sure. But when it happened, I was like, I wish Elisa was there. That was a big one, right? And so to get to do it over again with her there was an enormous thing. If you saw that little extra little pep in my step, it was that I was having a very awesome week with my wife, and it was such a big do-over just for that, And she was great. And then I also figured out, and also a lot of people don't know what my wife is like, but when you see my wife in the world of live television, you realize that that's where she should have made a living. She should be running Kelly and Michael. Like that's what her job should be. And she is perfect for it. Like that is exactly.
Did you go to a taping of Kelly and Michael?
No, it's just like everything about her energy in live television was just like, it was perfect, She looked home. And the other thing was that and I'm not bullshitting, man. It was so funny. When I did that show, I was just at my heaviest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just at my heaviest and unrelated. And I went on the show, and there I am with all these like pictures that end up like in these like photo services, right?
Sure.
And so like anytime, even like my DC announcement last year, even though I had lost the weight, it was all these pictures of me on Seth Meyers being all heavy. And like Matt and some of my friends were like, you might as well not lose the weight. Everyone just thinks you look like that. And I was like, Argh. So I was like, when they invited me back on, I go, I get to go on skinny. Oh, I'm so excited. I get to erase those pictures. So it was a do-over on so many levels.
I understand.
So that picture I posted on Instagram,
the double shot. Yeah.
True. Such a dream.
No, I understand, man. I got honestly, and I know we all see each other at our worst and we see every flaw. You looked fine the first time, and I know anyone, all of us will say that to you, and then you'll be like, yeah, whatever. And I know it's the relief to be thinner now and stuff. But you did. Yeah, you had the suit on, you looked fine. But this one you did.
I looked fine, but it was a very unhealthy weight.
I understand.
It spoke to the stress eating that was going on.
Okay.
With the weight loss comes a healthier mindset, more aware of myself, healthier for my kids. All of it's good. It just. And also just having like the benchmark of lost it and kept it off.
Amen, son. Yeah.
It's just like I now have like footage of me on that show that looks like if I never gained the weight ever in my life. That's what I would have looked like if I never gained the weight.
Oh no, I've seen the older pictures. I get it, man. Yeah.
Like if I stayed the weight in the 90s that I was, like this is pretty much what I would have looked like.
I hear you.
So.
Hilarious.
Oh my God! Stop talking about yourself, you ass. Sorry.
Well, bad news. We want to talk more about the books and everything and what's going on.
But anyway, I thought like for late night nerds and comedy nerds and like behind the scenes nerds, we give a little behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Well, and again, like you said, it's true. I mean that the comics are being an accepted part of the pop culture in a way that they haven't been in a while. And these things.
Two adult men in nice clothes were on national TV talking about Legion of Superheroes.
This is true.
There's a lot of things wrong with this timeline. That one seems pretty good.
I like it. No, and I like the new designs that Ryan is clearly doing, and they're on Brian's Instagram if you want to see them. If you'd missed them, and of course you can watch the Seth segment. I'm sure on YouTube. I'm sure it's there.
And just tonight I posted Brian Hitch's version of the Legion, which. Is delightful. I'm very excited for people to see that.
He and I are supposed to talk in just a couple days.
Okay, good.
That's our second conversation. He's great. He was like so warm the first time we talked, and he's like, "This was fun. Can we do it again?" I'm like, "Absolutely." I'm like, "Yeah, anytime." And it's so funny because then he got busy with deadlines and stuff, and I'm like, "You're still welcome for that second time and everything." And he goes, "Actually, let's do it now." And he wanted to do it last week, but I was working in radio. So we set it up for this week, so that'll be great. So
cool!
I'm very lucky.
Hey.
Yes.
No, it was a lovely surprise what I just posted that
the Hitch thing.
That Brian Hitch. I didn't even know it was in production, so I was like, wow, that's awesome.
No, and they're cool. I like the designs. I like some of the changes. I like that Timberwolf seems a little beefier than he used to be.
Tell people were confused by that. I went for, there's like a history of Timberwolf and Wolverine being like avatars of each other.
Right, Dave Cochran creating Timberwolf. Yeah.
I have a personal affection for Derek Robertson's Wolverine, right? Which is like a little bit of a chunkier, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, was it kind of more short and squat, kind of classic?
Yeah, short and squatty, and that Wolverine kind of went away with a Hugh Jackman,
100%.
Right?
Yep.
Like it just did.
Yeah.
But there was a version of Wolverine that was a little more like hunched over,
Absolutely.
And,
he was and again, sorry, old reference, but like Monk Mayfair from Doc Savage's crew in terms of being kind of squat, ugly guy rather than Hugh Jackman, tall and majestic.
Yeah, so I in my laundry list of weird notes and references for every character, I said, thinking of the Wolverine avatar here, I can't help but wish, the one Wolverine we're never going to get anymore is the Derek Robertson one. Let's do that here. So yeah,
right.
so that it's an homage to that.
I hear you, man. No,
I will say, you know what, Kurt Busiek tweeted yesterday, or I tried to tell, but he tweeted like the image we showed on Seth Meyers, and he said, some of these I hate, and to be frank, some of the original Legion I hated, so I love this. And that is a great response.
Sure.
That is no one loved every single Legion costume ever. That is an untruth. Some of these Legion purists are online yelling at me.
Oh, that's
I'm like,
hilarious.
excuse me. Yeah. So I thought Kurt's measured response was perfect. And also, some of the designs are in flux because we're still using them in story. As you draw them in action, the designs start to meld more. Everyone will tell you that.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Okay, sure.
So, like, it's one thing to design someone standing there looking like something, but once you start putting them in, like, 4 dimensions, the design and how you draw it changes. So that will happen. To not all of them, but some of them. A couple of them. Or none of them.
I understand. I'm literally looking at the group shot now and just kind of scanning over it and stuff. And yeah, I mean, no, and you're right about that because, you know, you go from the original Kurt Swan designs of the 50s and 60s, and then you leap forward and you get Mike Grell in the 70s. And, I mean, really, like, overly sexified. I mean, and not only, I'm not just talking about the women because I'm sure.
Oh, no, Cosmic Boy. I was trying to think.
Tyrock.
Could I show up to a convention dressed as 1970s Cosmic Boy? Could I pull that off?
or really, some body beautiful man of color to do Tyrock. I think would be 70s Tyrock and everything. No, man, yeah, absolutely. And you're right. And Barry Kitson with Wade and his run. And Colleen Doran. Her run and everything, yeah. No, some great artists have put their stamp on the Legion and kind of tweak things here and there, and no, it's great. And yeah, man, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Legion fan as well, and I welcome the challenge, the changes because it's interesting and it's.
And by the way, every single, like the X-Men and other franchises, every single generation had changes. There's every single generation. Sure. And the point of the Legion, and just so people can see, we're not just doing changes for change's sake. That some of the stuff that some of the older fans may love about the Legion at this time feels more retro cool than cool, right? Sure. So the whole point of Legion is to be as future forward as possible. And so our culture has moved significantly forward since some of this stuff has happened. So our job is to show as many new things as possible and different things as possible, not just to regurgitate like stuff that was cool in the 50s and 60s and 70s, right? Something that was cool in the 70s does not play today. It just doesn't, right? So, I mean, even all the designs of Star Wars are significantly changed.
Oh, yeah.
1970s, right?
Space 1999 is like that. It looks, if you compare it to sci-fi book covers, paperback books and hardcover books of the 70s, it fits, but the aesthetic now looks ridiculous. It's like looking at a 1970s kitchen design, and here's the kitchen of the future, and it's like, yeah, no, it's not.
No. Exactly. So we have that, and plus there some of these costumes and designs are referencing things that you will find out in story what they mean.
Okay.
So they may not mean anything to you right this second, but you'll find out when you find out, which is what you did with the original Legion 2. Like, you like them because you found out why you like them. So, if people give us a chance, we're going to show them.
All right, I see Bouncing Boy. Go ahead.
I will say it's very funny to be like backstage at a late night talk show, and the executive producer has you going over this image that you're talking about like it's the Zapruder film.
Oh, wow, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, man. Yeah.
And who's this? It's very, very funny.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, all right, between...
Who's this Dr. Fate-looking character? And I go, Dr. Fate?
I didn't even pick out a future Dr. Fate. That's fantastic.
There's a Dr. Fate. There's a Gold Lantern.
Is that the glowing character, or is that the Gold Lantern?
There's a Gold Lantern right there.
Because the one I was going to ask about is the one that's between Element Lad and, I believe, Invisible Kid, just to the left of Wildfire. Who's the woman in blue with the thigh boots and the blue visor?
Oh, I believe that's Shadowlass.
Oh no, now she is.
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, because I've got what I see is Shadowlass because she's all blue. She is just behind Monel and Saturn Girl.
I don't have it in front of me.
All right, fair enough. No worries.
I will have an answer on Twitter when this
all right, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, the front row it looks like it's Cosmic Boy, and Element Lad, the one I just described, Invisible Kid, Wildfire.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 that you don't know yet. You'll meet over the course of the first few issues.
Good idea.
So yeah.
That's
and every Legion had new characters as well.
Oh sure. Oh no, that was that was the fun.
Yeah.
Was even like the aliens auditioning to be part of the Legion. It was one of the great tropes of the Legion, and all that stuff, or deciding the leaders and the vote, and Princess Projector is going to be the leader for a year, and that's, by the way, I like pointing that out. Of hey, guess what? That was happening in the 70s. All right. So it's like, God bless you all for wanting and getting more women on the front lines and stuff. And it's like, yeah, Legion was doing that. That's cool.
My only failure so far as a Legion writer is I'm on my 5th issue behind the scenes, and no one in any of my issues has brought up an election for leadership yet. Every fucking issue, somebody is pissed off about the election for leadership of Legion of Superheroes. To the point where I was reading some issue just today, actually. That's why it's in my head. It was they're like the Legion are fighting like some space circus, and someone's like, "We need help. Who's your leader?" And Cosmo goes, "I'm the leader until the next election." Like, all right, we have to bring it up every minute. Jesus.
Well, and you and I know fans used to vote on that, which is great.
I know, but it's so funny how it's such a big part of like, well, we're going to have an election about this.
Bill Shelley wrote a great biography about Otto Binder, who wrote a lot of those late 50s Legion stories. And obviously spent some good time talking about the Legion.
What's the name of this thing that you're saying?
A Sense of Wonder, I want to say, is the title. I'll look it up as we're talking. Because he also recently wrote, which you might find interesting specifically, is a great Jim Warren biography about creepy and eerie and everything he ever did. And that's incredible.
I figured that.
Incredible. It's so good. And it's so... Like, hey, you ever wonder what the magazine business was like in the 50s and 60s? Here through the 80s, here you go, and it's fantastic. It's amazing. So yeah, Bill Shelley. Bill Shelley's one of those classic 1950s comic fandom that went to the first conventions and all that stuff and everything. And he also wrote a great Harvey Kurtzman book too, back just a couple of years ago. And I'm hoping to have him back. He came on when he did his Otto Binder book. Just making sure it's A Sense of Wonder.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Yeah, man. All right, Bill Shelley. All right, let's do that.
All right, cool.
Yeah, anyway. No, so we're still 2 months away from really experiencing at least that Millennium story with the Legion, but obviously when do things get rolling with the Legion and Superman?
We have 2 double-sized issues of Millennium.
Yep.
It's all beautiful.
All right, Brian, I got to stop you and ask you: Are you pronouncing Millennium because you're doing that, or is that a clue to something in the story?
Oh no, I'm just from Cleveland.
Shut up.
Millennium.
Are you for real?
What? Am I saying it wrong?
Well, I would like Millennium, like Len Wein, as opposed to Millennium. I have no idea because honestly, people have asked me. And they're like,
well, that's how people call in and correct us.
Well, it's like Paladin and Paladin. I mean, truly. And I don't mean that in any... I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm asking you.
No, that's how I say it.
Right.
Listen, I got Canadians in my house, the Ethiopians. We're all over the place with our...
It's fine.
So,
the book is just called Otto Binder, The Life and Work of a Comic Book and Science Fiction Visionary by Bill Shelley. And it's at Amazon. It's totally worth it. Because he also had a great pulp career as well as a comic book career. And, big Captain Marvel writer, wrote the original Supergirl story and wrote a lot of Supergirl, like when that classic cover of her coming out of the spaceship and everything. Yeah, she was amazing. Sorry, he was amazing.
My 6-year-old pronounces Kingpin, and it really annoys the shit out of me.
For real?
And yeah, well, yeah, I like picked him up at camp today, and he's like, we're walking home, and he's like, you know, just talking about Kingpin, and he goes, Kingpin, and I let it go for a while, and then and then I don't know, I just go, Kingpin. He goes, yeah, Kingpin. I go, no, Kingpin. He goes, Kingpin. I'm like, okay, I gotta stop this. I'm like, are you fucking with me?
Well, and that's how you know you're Marvel film fans versus comic book fans, because the Red Skull becomes Red Skull. It's like, all right. That's excellent, man.
So I hope this doesn't sound like a braggy podcast talking about like the talk show. It was a very unique experience in my life. It's very strange, and I just like thought I would like to hear what happened.
I think you're right, man.
To a writer that I liked. That's where I'm coming from with this,
but that's
the braggy brag part. Yep. I sometimes it's hard to tell maybe, and I just thought people like to know like my intention isn't braggadocious. It's here's some cool stuff I want to share with you.
Well, it's always exciting, I think, for us comic book readers when somebody that we know, whether it's writer or artist, you know, when Liefeld gets to do the jeans commercial, or, you know, going way back, or, you know, or whenever, like, all right, here's, you know, 30 seconds on Entertainment Tonight or Access Hollywood or whatever, and then these late night things. No, man, and even into the podcast world where Kirkman shows up on Adam Carolla and, right. You know, I mean, things like that. No, I think they are unique, and I do think that we share enough of an audience that we do want to hear, all right, what was it like? Wow, that's cool. You know, did they...
Yeah, that's what I thought. Do we... But I just wanted people who may not know our context. That was our context today.
I'm hip.
Was let's share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you told me like we were doing like crazy numbers our last couple of shows.
Yes.
So people have been really tuning in. So I thought, we got something to talk about.
No, absolutely no. And well, you know, we had talked, and I'm glad that Elisa went with you, because originally you're like, hey, I'm gonna be home alone in New York. Do you want to talk? And I'm like, yeah, all right, no problem. And then you're like, let's talk the week after. And then I saw that Elisa was with you, and I'm like, oh, that's great. They get to have a nice New York romp, and man, that's great to go to.
We own the city, man. It was so great.
Did you go to Elaine's after seeing To Kill a Mockingbird?
No, we went to Deli's.
Sure.
We went
Did you go to Kansas?
I love Old Koreatown. There's a bunch of restaurants there that me and David Mack particularly go to all the time.
Oh, interesting.
Have been literally since the 90s. And so we like, that was my dream, that like after Seth Meyers, we'd head down there and get like Korean barbecue and just like giggle till all the night. And we did.
That's cool.
So much fun.
That's excellent. This is excellent. And you know, back to the comics. I mean, obviously,
yes.
You know, Superman in full motion, and Leviathan, great event, and getting stranger and stranger, and you know, it's. Yeah, what we don't know, we really don't understand what Leviathan's motivations necessarily are, because they certainly have opportunities.
Well, it's a mystery, so we're in the first two like chapters of a mystery, sure. Which is following the Agatha Christie rules, you ain't going to find out till at the end of issue 5. So, but we got some really juicy stuff coming. That Leviathan, I must say, I'm very relieved and happy that people are on board for the energy of that series. As we talked last time it's different than other things like it, and either people buy in or they don't, right? And I'm very happy people like the mystery. So coming next issue, it's going to be all Fallout with the Red Hood. We're going to unpack that big time. Here comes Amanda Waller and Superman. And you get to see Alex Maleev Superman, and
cool.
Very cool, and it's really beautiful. And in Superman itself, I'll tell you, here's some updates. So the Unity saga, which is really where all this Legion stuff is coming from, the Legion's first proper appearance in this timeline in this version of the DC universe will be in Superman 14, and then Superman 15 will be the wrap-up of the 2 years long Unity saga. So a genuine DC saga of proportion will come to its conclusion with the addition of the Legion of Superheroes. After that, it's issue 16 of Superman, and that will be drawn by David LaFuente, who I have not worked with since Ultimate Spider-Man back in the day.
Wow, that's great.
I'm excited about that. And the reason we have David coming on board for this is, number one, Ivan needs a break. That is the longest run of books Ivan has ever done. So he is zonked. But he's coming back to the book. He just needs a couple of months off to shake off the sillies. That was an intense amount of Superman battles. So David LaFuente is coming in to do a reunion of the Super Sons. John now with a choice of Legion and with this new status quo in his life of the way he looks. He and Damian get back together, and I'm not going to spoil what happens, but I think people will be really surprised by which direction this goes. And then issue 17 of Superman, I am happy to tell you for the next few issues we'll have Kevin McGuire joining us as the art author. So he'll be our fill-in, and while he's drawing his issues, Ivan will be starting his issues, so Ivan can then do a nice long run.
Excellent. That's cool.
Okay.
Kevin McGuire, right there with Kurt Swan, with the greatest facial expressions on any comic book person. So,
and probably the number one subject on the Seth Meyers podcast when we were talking, because he is.
Oh, that's funny.
We share our love of Kevin. Kevin McGuire drew Seth's avatar on Twitter and stuff at his wedding. Yeah, I didn't know he had hired Kevin to draw stuff at his wedding and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right. So we're all talking about Kevin, and then then he said something how he felt bad, and I said we feed Kevin because Kevin lives here. So there you go. So we're very excited because Kevin is the biggest Superman fan on the planet and wants to do proper Superman adventure comics, and that was what we will be doing. I'm very excited about that. So yeah, and then the event Leviathan Fallout proper will be happening in Action Comics during and after the series.
Okay, because that's the last issue I read, and right now I'm forgetting the reporter's name, who was also the Red Cloud, or is it Red Cloud?
Robinson Good.
Robinson Good. Okay, excellent. Yeah, and it's interesting because you're getting at least what you believe to be face-to-face, encounters with Leviathan, both Superman and others as well, obviously, when they're being antagonized, and also Red Cloud's own secret, and the fact that Lex and Leviathan seem to be very into Robinson's past and kind of knows what's going on. I love Perry both interrogating Robinson and Clark about what's going on. Again, the Daily Planet seemed very authentic, and I know you spent your time not only in your work past, but also even recently to get more newsroom kind of vibes.
Just this week, just before we went over to Seth Meyers, I ran over to see our friend George Costines at the New York Times, and he gave me a fancy tour of what was going on. It was very cool to be in the bullpen at the New York Times during the Mueller report fallout. That was very good for me. There was quite a few things that I saw that were deeply illuminating to some stuff that Greg, Matt, and I are working on for Metropolis.
Excellent.
So I was literally texting them from the New York Times. I'm like, oh, I got it. So we're golden. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, as I said on Twitter, now that Greg is fully on doing Lois Lane and Matt is doing Jimmy Olsen, Matt has pulled together a Metropolis City Council, and they come over my house every week, like a Tuesday nights, like 10 o'clock at night, and we make a fire and we talk about Superman until we're too tired.
That's excellent.
And then so what we're trying to do is get to stuff about Superman and Metropolis that we couldn't get to individually, but with the three of us and knowing each other as well as we have, and with Greg's very deep, long history with the characters, and with our passion for it, we're feeling we can get to some stuff over the next few months that no one's been able to try before. So we'll see.
No, that's exciting, honestly. And I mean, and as you say, Jimmy Olsen just came out. Lois Lane #2 comes out this week. I'm looking at the new list.
And as I said on Twitter, if when all the dust clears, all I remembered for was getting Matt Fraction bullied onto Jimmy Olsen. I will be very happy about that.
And Lieber,
if that's all.
Lieber's doing a great job on the art. Lieber, seriously, him and Nick Spencer and now him and Matt and stuff. I really enjoy when Lieber is on a superhero adventure book that definitely has a sense of humor to it and stuff. And he really is one of the right guys to get.
Well, he was. It was Matt's idea, and it was a great idea. And we've known Steve a long time. Steve lives here in Portland.
Yeah.
I've known Steve a long time, and Steve and I share a deep passion for as does Matt, like of what comics really is, and the history and the real history of comics. And so it's surprising that Matt and Steve haven't worked together before, but not surprising is how well they work together and how I think they're a real team now. I think they're this is just the first of many projects.
And the same with Perkins and Greg doing Lois Lane, man. Absolutely. Long-time Perkins fan and long-time Greg fan, and they're working great together.
Yeah, Greg is one of my closest friends, and I don't know Mike at all.
Sweetheart of a guy. No. Seriously,
I know, but I can only speak to. I open the book and went, "Whoa, this is like the best thing he's ever done. This is really good." So yeah, I was really, really, really excited about it.
That's cool. I'm surprised you guys haven't crossed paths because also he's an old Caliber guy as well. Back in the day.
No, it's life, just life.
No, it hasn't happened. I understand. Yeah. I get Chicago people like that are longtime comic book people that I haven't met yet. So no, I get it, man.
There are people in town here that I would shock people that I've never even seen them in passing. And they're like big comic book people, and they haven't even bumped into them.
Had my first
even Mark Russell. Until we started working together, I never even saw him in person.
That I was about to say. Because of his Ahoy comic, Second Coming, Dave Hyde's like, "You want to talk to Mark Russell?" I said, "That's funny. We were just talking about him with Brian." I said, "Yes, I absolutely did."
Please do.
Oh, we did it.
We did it.
Oh, you did? Yeah, we did it last week. Absolutely. No, it posted right before Billy D.
I'm sorry. I saw the Billy D post.
Problem.
I did not see the
No, it's okay. But yeah, no, it's great. No, and funny as hell. Great conversation. I'm sure we'll do more.
Awesome.
And he said that he goes, he's not sure if he's going to set up or not at Rose City, but he's going to be wandering around. And I said, well, I'll be wandering around too. So I'm hoping we'll run into each other. So
awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about that. No, and it's Second Coming's hilarious. I mean, it's very, very irreverent and consistent with his Hanna-Barbera books. And also, I love the fact that there's a guy, and we were talking right before San Diego, and he's writing about how Jesus is coming back to Earth and learning how to be a better Jesus from the example of a superhero. And I'm like, well, that's perfect timing for the Westbrook angry religious mob that's, usually at San Diego and yelling.
Oh, yeah, were they there?
I didn't see anything this year. And as you know, too, they make a lot of noise for about 20 people.
Exactly.
And it kind of cracks me up. But that's great. And why not? What a genius idea. And I'm also doing this to also let people know, hey, you should really read Second Coming, Mark's book. And now, of course, Wonder Twins as well. But I love the idea that, no, let's lean into that about how the Westbrook people argue and these are your gods, they're false icons. And it's like, oh, why not lean into it and go, well, what could a Jesus learn from a Superman sort of hero? And that's a very interesting kind of thing. And it's totally a great comedy. It's very Douglas Adams in its, I think, presentation.
Yeah. That's a perfect analogy, Douglas Adams.
Yep. Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide for people who don't know. Yeah.
What an excellent, flattering analogy that is.
Well, but again, he's great. He's fun. No, he's legitimately funny. And, we didn't get a chance to talk about Mad. I know we talked about Vertigo last time because that was the big news, and then literally like a week or two later.
Yeah, I was just personally bummed out when I came to DC. I was like, ooh, I wonder if I get to do something in Mad Magazine. Like that, that's something I never thought I'd get to do. Could I do something in that? And then I never got to it, so. Not that anybody asked me, but.
No, I understand, and no, it's a shame.
I just personally love Mad Magazine, and I would have loved to have been a contributor, just one time.
Sure. And yeah, man, it's disappointing that they're kind of.
No, it is. Listen, nobody wants it to go away. Everything about our culture has shifted. Things are very different now. It's hard to put out a parody magazine when everyone has beat the shit out of a joke on Twitter 10 minutes after it happened.
Understood.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's you really have to my heart was breaking watching all these famous comedians pine for Mad Magazine, not even realizing that unironically they had turned Twitter into Mad Magazine. right?
No, you're right about that, and that's an even better example.
Like, I don't understand why this magazine can't support itself. I go, because you get all this reference from you for free on Twitter. So
that's fair.
It's and not that it's just, I love that stuff. The art form, literally one of my heroes is Mort Drucker. My character icon hero is as an illustrator was to try to be like Mort Drucker. So
I don't blame you. Yeah, man. Yeah. No, and it's again, Bill Shelley doing that Kurtzman biography, I know, is one of the right guys to talk about the history of Mad. And you're right. And not only you make a better point of pointing out Twitter, because my thinking was, well, the Onion comes out weekly and it does it, But
the Onion's on Twitter. I read 7 Onion jokes the first thing in the morning. I'm like,
That's a good point. Absolutely.
Whether I want to or not.
But it is interesting how Cracked was able to kind of remodel itself and be an online entity, and Mad, And again, I'm not saying they didn't try.
I can't speak to any of that other than I think about it. I am a content provider. As a writer, I provide the content and how, in what shape that content is being provided, and what the audience wants and how much of it they want and when they want it. You have to think about this stuff, and the culture is shifting under our feet constantly.
That's fair.
So,
that's fair.
Yeah, and again, I don't mean that. Oh, too bad. I consider it constantly for a lot of things. So I want all the things that we love to stay healthy and alive.
Well, and for people who've been pining for it and haven't been able to find your Batman at Walmart, it's finally coming out monthly now. You and Nick Darrington.
Yes. And what a lovely response it was for that. Nick is an exceptional illustrator.
Oh, yeah.
And just. And again, as people know, one of those books where we became friends making the book, and that's always a cool thing.
Oh yeah, great guy, man. I met him when he and Hickman were hip deep in their work and everything. And no, Nick's a really nice guy. And is your run done with Walmart, or are you still putting out? Or are issues still coming out?
Yeah, I did 12 issues of that, and so I'm done on that right now. And I'm doing another secret Batman project with somebody else.
Very cool. Is there another Walmart project for you, or is that it for Walmart?
Not right now. No. Legion is all my eggs are in the Legion basket right now. It's a huge undertaking. So, but I will say it's been lovely. Our Batman is different than the Batman flavor that's been out there with Scott and Tom, basically, and everyone at Detective. Ours is a little more lighthearted, and I was genuinely relieved that people were so in tune with it.
Well, like you said, I think you're right. It's your Brave and Bold, basically.
It is, but and I was happy about that. Batman's this is it's the brass ring. You don't want people not to like your Batman.
Sure.
It was nice. It was a relief. It really was. Also, it was funny. It was like the Walmart books were like a cold open, and the book came out last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah. It was like people seeing it for the first time.
Well, yeah, it reminds me of like when Marvel Unlimited 6 months later would be printing your X-Men or whatever, and then you'd realize that you're all of a sudden getting feedback on something that you're like, why is this happening? And it's coming out through Marvel Unlimited, so people are reading it for the first time there. So I understand that. Your Batman is. This Walmart thing, as you say, it is a different tone. Is it a different? I mean, are there? And obviously, you've got another Batman project coming up, as you say. Was it something that you would have done with Batman from day one, or because it was a Walmart thing, it was different than whatever your like? As soon as I get Batman, I'm telling this story instinct.
No, it wasn't as soon as I got Batman. It was a mixture of things. It was Nick and Nick's voice as an illustrator. And then it was about, you're thinking, oh, cool. This is a new reader project, right? So you really do have to think about, this is the essence of Batman project, right? Or what they call an evergreen, that anyone from any age and any walk of life could pick it up and go, all right, he's Batman. I get it. So in that way, I've done that a few times at Marvel as well. And so that, but the extra level for me here is that it was among the very first things I typed for DC. So Batman's tour through the DC universe is a reflection of my tour through the DC universe. Like, it was me visiting these places for the first time, finding out how do I like the weather out here? You know, how does Gorilla City do me? And so this travelogue that Batman takes us on is also one that he's taking me on. So as an author, I can see where I fit.
I understand. I found our old Instagram thread of questions from people because it took.
Oh, you got a couple?
It took some digging. Yeah, and actually there are a couple good ones here that I wanted to ask.
Right.
MXLC95 or Mixel, maybe 95. Can you tell me if at some point would you explain why Talia al Ghul called the Daily Planet using her real name? I mean, she was working with Leviathan, and she is a well-known criminal. Was she not afraid of someone like Lois or Clark or somebody discovering her? And why did she sleep with Jimmy?
So the Talia story is unfolding right now. So I can't answer all good questions. All questions I'm glad that were read out loud because there are questions I'd like everybody to be asking, and all of which will be answered in the next few months. But the story of Talia, the story of Talia is being told right now.
Excellent.
Yeah, but when you find out who Leviathan is and what they want, why they're doing it, they've done it to her first. So,
well, yeah, because they took Leviathan away from her because originally.
Yeah, exactly.
So I understand.
Unless she is Leviathan.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Joshua M. Quirk. Bendis, is it a good idea to move to Portland? I want to get into comics just for the convenience factor.
Well, it's funny. That's literally like what 10 Minutes of Seth Meyers was about, too. Because it's if you live in New York, and it's literally the same question like Joe Quesada asked me. If you live in New York, Portland seems like some weird sex cult. Like everybody moves there. They come to visit, and then they move here, and then they don't talk about it. Like what's going on over there that people move, and it's just a lovely. And you're going to come visit us soon,
yeah,
right?
I'm excited.
John?
Yeah, man.
For Rose City, so you're going to come hang out, and we can do one of these live.
That would be great. And I didn't know if because it sounds like your Metropolis Council meetings happen on Tuesdays. I'm like, I might miss one then. So, and also that might be inside shit.
Convention weeks are always weird anyhow, so who knows? Okay. It's funny. It's when you come visit us, like many people have. The most recent, like Nick Darrington, came to visit us and went, "Oh, this is the lifestyle I wanted. It's got all the properties of a great city and all the gourmet stuff, but everyone really, really cares about creativity and individuality." And nobody cares what shape your family is, and nobody judges. It's a bubble like you wouldn't believe. And every 6 months, there's Nazi fighting in the center square.
Wow.
So, I hate that.
I hear you.
So, it's not fun having that in the city. It really isn't. I shouldn't even joke about it. So, but yeah, it's really beautiful, and it's stayed this way the entire time. And I love that every time someone visits us, they end up moving here. I wonder if John will do it.
I would love that. It's seriously.
It makes you. There's something about it that makes you work harder because everyone's making comics, so you better go make yours.
No, I get it, man. No, it's great, and truly, I mean, that's why I've really, and you're very gracious to extend the hand and everything as far as me coming next month. But I'm thrilled because you, Matt, Kel, Greg, and Jen, and Coover and Paul Tobin, and
Mike Kentucky, the Marquezes, the Darringtons, Joshua Williamson,
Jeff
Mark
Parker.
Russell here.
Yeah, Jeff Parker's my buddy.
The Parkers,
I was going to say, even Matt Wagner's a buddy. I mean, it's like
absolutely
Shrek.
Matt Wagner, Randy Bowen, a good friend of mine.
Yes.
But yeah, and just last night, Rucka brought over Nicola Scott.
I noticed that she's still staying over, and I love that she does that post San Diego. That's a great time for her and Greg to really hunker down and get a lot of collaboration done. I don't know if she's doing it this trip or not, but it's like because it was just her birthday, and today, as we're recording, it's Gail Simone's birthday. So
that's right. Happy birthday to both.
Absolutely.
But we got Nicola a little cake while she was
Adorable.
here, and and for people who don't know, because Greg and Nicola are such partners that it's like even though I love her work and I love her, I'm like, oh, I'm never going to get to work with her. She's with Greg, right? And but we squeezed out. She does the Booster Gold segment of Legion of Superheroes, Millennium. And they're beautiful, and I'm super excited that I got to work with her even just this one time.
That's excellent, man. No, that's cool. I wanted to explain the Millennium thing. I think people were thinking, like, all right, so is Lois Lane like the timeless character? Because we kind of seen her in Justice League and Snyder's future Justice League story and everything.
Right. Right.
You know, and obviously I'm sure you're not going to answer because it would obviously keep the mystery.
No, I like it. This is cool, and it's a character who is going to, for those who don't know, in Millennium, there is a character who's in the DC universe who is going to discover through the machinations of what's happened in the DC universe that they have pretty much stopped aging, and they didn't know it, right? So it kind of creeped up on them, and time has gone by, and they're like, uh-oh, and then we follow them as they journey literally to the front door of the Legion of Superheroes. So we get a character who gets to walk us through all of the disparate futures of the DC universe. We get to line them up in a chronological order, but in a dramatic way, and then get to the Legion. I was so excited about this idea. It just helps the reader who didn't know anything about the Legion or anything about OMAC or Commandy or any of this stuff. Right. We're going to introduce you to it in a very cool way. And then, also it just speaks to, like, some of what I love about the history of Legion is that they always did things a little differently in the way they published their books. Like, there was always something different about it. And like, so this launch of Legion is actually like a 3-issue launch. Like, that's different. And I like it. So. I know it's weird.
No, I'm well. Again, without seeing it, all right. I'll take your word for it. And I might have asked this before.
Also, I also like. There's a because I'm also working on Powers right now. There's a cool thing where I wrote Walker from the dawn of man up until modern day, where he lost his ability when he started to age.
Right.
Now I have a character who stopped aging in modern day. Is going to walk us, so you can literally read my work and walk from the dawn of man to the Legion of Superheroes.
Well, and
in 2 novels.
In the I want to ask. We should ask more about the Powers graphic novel coming up.
Sure.
But I might have asked this before, and I don't even know if Electric Warriors by Steve Orlando is still happening currently. I'm going to see him actually at this Terrificon next week in Connecticut.
I love Steve.
Great dude, great guy. Yeah, I like Steve a lot. Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing him and also having him back on. But, he's Electric Dreams is kind of that midway point between the modern DC era and Legion, because that's like 500 years. So did you work it, did you talk to him?
There is reference to it, but because he got a whole thing going. Yeah. But there is reference.
Okay, I wondered how much,
Also, I felt like that was covered. There's 2 other segments that are being covered in other people's properties. Then I go, okay, that's been covered. Let me do the stuff that isn't being covered.
Okay. No, all right, that's interesting. Mark Ender asks, the Young Justice kids, the Superman family, and the Legion are everything to me. You're coming to DC and giving me back all these things that I love, and that means more to me than I can express. Will you address Legionnaires Monel and XS, who have ties to the present-day Clark and Bart in your new Legion book?
Yes. Thank you for asking. But I will say, this is not a cop-out answer, and I was pining this to Brian Cunningham, my editor on all this stuff earlier today, that the biggest struggle with Legion is that you can't get to all of this in the first issue, right? Like, it's 34 characters. There's about 300 plots, subplots and plots going on. And things we want to introduce, and all stuff we're going to get to, and it's all great stuff, but it's all not going to happen in the first issue, right? Yeah. We got to set up our tone and set up our plot, and some characters will be serviced right away, while some other characters you're just going to have to wait. And I promise you that I have really agonized over all of these choices, and I wish that every issue was like 100 pages longer. You know what I mean? But we're going to get to all of it.
Very cool. Hey,
But it's funny, Mon-El and the way people respond to the character Mon-El because of the Supergirl TV show is way different than I thought it was going to be. That was the one that surprised. That was the one thing I was not as prepared for. Like, of all the things in my head that I think I know it's coming, I didn't see that coming.
Okay. I think Mon-El, just being a Daxamite, and that the Daxamites are sort of the kind of the white supremacist kind of Kryptonians almost. Like, their relationship to Kryptonians are like the Romulans and the...
That's an interesting thing.
The Vulcans and the Romulans kind of, too, where, they kind of splintered off and became a different society. And, there's just that kind of... white supremacist kind of,
I don't know if I agree with that. I get.
Well, and it depends on the people that are writing it. I mean, that's all. I mean, it almost seemed like.
Let's just skip all this. Let's just not go down.
All right, fair enough. Well, yeah, all right, no worries. And I can cut it if you want.
Yeah, just cut it. Let's just cut it.
No problem here. Let me have my let's count to 5 and quietly to ourselves to let me know that this is the point of conversation where Brian doesn't want to talk. This got awkward.
Brian doesn't like to talk about white supremacists. What a dick.
All right, there you go. All right, yeah, no problem. That's an easy edit. No, the only other stuff I wanted to discuss with you was, Naomi. You want to talk anything? Naomi's getting to the end.
I mean, that was cool. That was cool to show Naomi on TV like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's not a small thing.
No,
man. That's
new character, absolutely, man. Well,
and we had our first cosplay in it really means in San Diego there was first Naomi cosplay.
Oh, cool.
And I know with all that's going on with Spider-Verse, that might seem I don't know, but it's the first stuff with a new character like that is always really magical, and you can never assume it's going to happen. And when it does, it's just, someone loves it as much as we do. That's really amazing. It really is.
Excellent.
So it's great. Yeah.
Were you there? Did you go to San Diego for a day or whatever?
I did not. Okay. No, I chose the New York trip instead.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I know we were going to do like all this Legion stuff, and then all of a sudden Seth Meyers called and said, "You want to come?" I go, "Oh, let's just do Legion there then." Right? And it sounded much more special and for what we want.
Well, and again, more exposure. I mean, millions of people watching Seth versus, I mean, Comic-Con is great, don't get me wrong, but
Comic-Con's amazing. Yeah.
I get it.
I would love to plug the Powers graphic novel if I could if I could.
Yes. Your show, son.
So we're, even as we're speaking, Mike Oeming is drawing pages. This is hundreds of pages of a brand new Powers graphic novel. If you've never read Powers before, it is the story of homicide detectives that work in a world of superheroes. And with these cases, the homicide detectives are able to dig into the superhero genre in a way no other book can. And we've been doing this book for years and have been able to tell completely unique stories. But this one we're doing is called The Best Ever. It's Powers the Best Ever graphic novel, and it tells the story of Christian Walker, who used to be a superhero, but that was decades ago, and no longer has his powers and has aged up, and the world has turned, and his greatest enemy has returned, and he does not have the power to do anything to stop him.
Wow.
And it's the final story of Christian Walker.
Okay, so and will Inky and Dina both be in the story?
100%.
Okay.
Front and center. They have not seen each other in a very long time. And the other very cool thing that we get to do is we get to age the characters in real time. So it's been 20 years to the day. When this book comes out, it'll be 20 years to the day that Powers #1 came out, and they will be 20 years older.
Very cool.
And I think that's cool. You don't really get to do that often.
No.
Right? And I was so chuffed about it. And then I put on the Deadwood movie, which I would talk to you about endlessly if you've seen it. And they did something even more interesting in the Deadwood movie with aging up their characters than we did, and I was so impressed.
I do have to confess I haven't seen it yet.
If I can recommend something wholeheartedly, I loved Deadwood when it came out. I actually held off watching season 3 because many of my friends said, "Oh, it doesn't end, and it's such a bummer because it just doesn't end, right?" And so I never watched it. And then they made the movie. And then so I started from scratch and I watched, and I hadn't seen it since I watched it in 2003. I watched all the episodes, and then I watched the movie. and I had one of the most profound storytelling experiences of my life. I loved it. From top to bottom, the movie is exceptional. I know some people had different opinions of it, but having watched it as a conclusion to Deadwood, which is what it is one of the most exceptional jobs I've ever seen anyone do. It just blew me away, rattled me to my core, and it changed some of the work I'm doing.
Wow!
Like I had to rethink about some of my choices. I just loved it. Loved it.
That's pretty amazing.
But anyway, just to rewind, but the Powers graphic novel experience has been a very tremendous creative experience behind the scenes between me and Mike. Like pulling it apart and putting it back together has been like the most crazy creative experience. And we've been doing it for 20 years, and it's still like the first day we've done it. And then to have, like, of all things, Deadwood come up and creep up on me and like rattle me about Powers. What a weird experience. So in Deadwood, not to spoil anything, but it's 10 years later. Mm-hmm. The movie is 10 years later, and everyone's kind of coming back to Deadwood because they're being ratified as a state, right? Yes. So it's a great excuse for those who have come back. But in the movie, everyone looks way older than 10 years because it's that life. Right? Like it's the Wild West life. Yeah. So they look like 30 years older. And I was so impressed with that choice. And it's never brought up. It's just, wow, everyone looks like shit. You're like, yeah, because this is a shit life.
What real history era is like, what year are we in supposedly in the movie? Do you know?
No, it's all based on real stuff, and I only based on Matt Fraction lecturing me about it do I think that's true. But it's all based on a real story of Deadwood.
Well, I understand that, but yeah, is it like still pre?
Yeah, I don't know that.
Okay, so is it still 1890s or 80s or 70s?
I'm not even sure what year my Legion of Superheroes book takes place in, so don't ask me this question.
Well, you know, I remember when Azzarello did Loveless for Vertigo, and that was the best ending. Was, you know, the outlaw gets jailed and comes out to the 20th century and has does not recognize the world he is re-entering because it's been 10 or 20 years since he was put away. And that's really...
There's something about the world building in Deadwood, and it was building a world that we knew about, and we see why they built it and how they built it. It just really got to me. I just loved it. And also Milch and his... Sure. Relationship to his work and where he is in his life, it's all on screen, and it's kind of amazing.
Oh, wow. Is he better? Because I know we've even talked about this in the past about how ambulatory he technically is in terms of being very dependent and kind of crazy.
I don't know all the details, but you hear there's some stuff going on, and it's all on screen.
Interesting.
It's kind of amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It's kind of amazing.
Now, The Boys debuted on Amazon. I haven't had a chance to watch an episode.
I can't wait to see it. It's going to be this weekend. I just haven't had a chance yet. But it was really funny. I everywhere I was in New York with these giant posters for The Boys. So I would send them to Derek Robinson, like because people would do that with me, with Spider-Verse and even Powers. Like if they see the billboard somewhere, they just send it to me, and I'm always genuinely grateful. I don't get to see all of this stuff, and it's all crazy, and some of it's only going to be there for a week or two or a month, you know. Yeah. Like it's so I'm grateful when someone takes a picture and send it because now I have it. So I knew all over all these years of projects that I've always been grateful. So if I see one, I will do it for a fellow creator. But what was funny is that I got this flash that I literally was standing in the New York Times newsroom, and you look out the window, and there's like a skyscraper size sign for The Boys, right? And I took a picture of it, and I said, "It's so funny. We used to send each other little clips and say, hey, look, they mentioned your book on Wizard,' and be so excited for each other. And now we send each other like these giant billboards. And in some of the times it's the same book. Like I remember sending him stuff. Oh, look, they mentioned The Boys in Wizard. And now it's this. It's crazy.
That's great.
It's very surreal. I don't mean to be braggy about it or anything like that. It's just how different the world is.
100%, man. And that's why
different. It's the same book, and now it's a thing. crazy.
Yeah, no, and truly, that's why I'm happy to have you share about Seth Meyers and everything. No.
Yeah.
Derek's going to be, I'm pretty sure, at Terrificon, and I've only met him once before, one of Tony Moore's Cincinnati shows that he used to do. So I'm looking forward to seeing Derek again and setting something up, and I'm sure we will, because we've agreed in principle that eventually, like someday we'll talk about this. And no, man, God, all the trailers looked amazing. I love Carl Urban and everything he does. He's a great choice for Butcher and everything.
And I want to, I'm excited about Stumptown for Greg.
Man, insane. I know. Good Lord. And it's like, it's on ABC. And also Old Guard on Netflix.
Yes.
Holy shit.
I have all the behind the scenes details, but Greg just got back. You should get Greg on the show. Greg's got stories. Greg just got back from England.
No, I will. Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, and maybe because I've done all these interviews with people that are going to be at Terrificon, I kind of figured in August I'd have similar conversations as we get closer to Rose City. And I'm hoping.
Oh, yeah, I can make that happen. We'll do it at Rose City.
I would want both. Guess what? I want both. I'm a glutton. Not only do I want a pre-Rose City conversation with Matt and Greg, but I also want one while we're all together. Please, that would be great. Yeah, well, and also, I mean, like I said, man, during the cons, I am always like, look, I will network. I'll hang out if people are there, but I try to also have that third eye available of, oh, look, suddenly 5 people are in line waiting to get their book signed, and I'm bullshitting with Greg, or I'm bullshitting with Gail Simone or somebody. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Please, meet them. You guys paid to be here. I'm here because somebody approved my press pass and, whatever. And, really, honestly, I am, because I don't like doing convention floor interviews anymore. And some creators suggest it, and it's like, no, man, that's your time to, talk to the other fans that this is their chance to meet you. Again, I'm jaded. I get to do these things a couple times a year and see everybody, so it's okay.
I know. We always have our best. I make this mistake a lot. Where I go, just come meet me at the thing, and I'm thinking it's
right. We're both waiting for a bus or something.
Like that. That'll be a simpler solution. It just makes it more complicated. So
I get it.
I'm going to bail.
Right.
I got to go write some comics. This is I actually have a very crazy couple of weeks in front of me, so I'm glad we got to squeeze this in.
Me too.
Listen, again, I thanks to everyone in New York who showed up, and that was kind of amazing. And even I don't know. It was just my Twitter feed was just filled with a lot of love and support for all the stuff that we did this week. And I just wanted to hop online and with you and say thanks and share all the details with everybody.
No, thank you. As always, thank you. And man, I'm always happy to provide the platform. And I knew you'd have fun stories to talk about with New York. And
also, we got a lot of nice comments on the last edition of this show. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. When you reach out back to us and say something, we really appreciate 100%. That, because a lot of times we feel insane doing this, and then we hang up and go, "That was weird. That was a weird conversation for 2 adults to have." And then you guys respond nicely, and we really appreciate it. It does help us get back on the phone with each other.
100%. No, man. And truly, I can honestly say since our last conversation, I've been on this ridiculous streak of great conversations. Kelly Sue.
You had a good run. You really have.
Kelly Sue and I had an amazing talk 2 weeks ago. And then Straczynski. And then, hey, would you like to talk to Billy D. Williams? Yeah. I can only get him for you for about 15 minutes. That's fine. We will fill 15 minutes. Don't worry. And he was great. Mark Russell was fantastic. My buddy Mike Norton was fantastic. And man, no. And in your wake, if everything goes right, I'll be talking to Hitch. I'll be talking to King.
Awesome.
I'll be talking to Orlando. And man, I want to set up more pre-Rose City stuff with Portland people, and as I get closer to that one. So no, thank you as well.
You should make a day where you just go to Dark Horse.
That's what I was going to do.
Trips, go to Helios Show. Yeah. There's places to go. Image. I mean, there's places. Yeah.
No, and you're right. I totally forgot about Image. Being over there.
Image, Oni, Top Shelf. Everyone's here.
Is Dirk Wood still there?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm gonna have to. I'll pursue that and see, because I know he moved to Portland and was.
Again, I have to remind you, Legion has melted my brain. I don't know where half my kids are at the moment. I'm joking, of course.
Excellent.
All right, I'm going to go work. I love you.
There you go, new Bendis tapes. And guess what? As we said, we're all going to be at Rose City that week of the convention. And the plan is to record more with Brian and hopefully Fraction and Rucka. And I want to talk to Jen Van Meter. It's been forever. A little more with Kelly Sue, hopefully. That's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, really, and it's amazing. Since starting Word Balloon in 2005, I can easily count 20 people in Portland that I am at the least friendly with, and at the best, they are my friends. So that's great, and that gives me a chance to see them in their natural habitat. It's always like fun for me when one of them is in town, and either we have lunch or even just a little bit of a hangout. It doesn't matter. When Bendis was shooting Powers, when Greg has been here, Rucka, and Jen Van Meter, and Kelly Sue coming in for a signing and stuff, and hanging out with Fraction. It kills me when these things happen. Jeff Parker is another guy like that. I'm always happy when I see them in my town, so it's great to be in their town. And, I reached out to Parker, and, so he's happy that I'm coming. I know you're listening to this, Jeff. At least you pretended to be happy. No, man, I'm excited. I'm going to go over to Helioscope and talk to the creators over there, and I'm trying to make time, like Brian said, of maybe going to Dark Horse if they're not like crazy right before Rose City, or some of the other studios and friends that I have that are like, oh yeah, let's definitely get together, because I could talk to them at the convention, but I stopped doing floor interviews for that reason. I just kind of feel like I'd rather have you on the phone or on Skype or even obviously in person. That's always great. I mean, I'll be bugging my Chicago friends, more of them coming up in, the weeks and months ahead as well. They're always here, so it's kind of easy for me to set something up and do something new with them. But, I love that. I love visiting towns and knowing that I can have a sit-down with people. I got to do that with New York. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year for the convention, but I really do need to carve out, some time where I just go to New York and hang out with friends and get together with, Ron Mars for a while and, Fred Van Lente, Ryan Dunleavy, people like that I really enjoy seeing them when we're all in New York. And Greg Pak is another guy like that. I mean, good Lord. So we'll see. But we're doing it with Portland in September. We got Terrificon coming up in a week and a half. Lots of cool stuff coming to Word Balloon in the weeks and days ahead. And you're going to be there for the trip, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the League of Word Balloon listeners for their support. It's sponsoring Word Balloon via Patreon, subscribing to Word Balloon, patreon.com/wordballoon, or go to the Patreon ad at wordballoon.com, and it'll get you to my Patreon page. Thank you greatly for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. And thank you, Aftershock Comics, for your great patronage as well. Looking forward to seeing a couple Aftershock people at Terrificon in a week and a half. That'll be great. And, going to have more creators on, man. I'll tell you, they continue to shock us with great new titles that are genre-bending titles and have really interesting ideas. Cullen Bunn's Knights Temporal. What could that be about? That's going to be very interesting. There's Chris Sabella's Trustfall that just got underway back in June. And You Are Obsolete coming up from Matthew Klickstein. And Joe Pruitt's horror anthology, Shock. Really neat stuff, man. Baby Teeth from Donny Cates. I'm going to see Donny Cates at Terrificon. Expect, part of the panel certainly to be devoted to Baby Teeth. Pretty neat stuff, man. Stay with me and stay with Aftershock, because they got great new releases coming out all the time, and we'll have more creators on to talk about their books in the upcoming weeks. But you don't have to wait. Go to their website. You will find amazing books. Jim Starlin, I'm going to see him at Terrificon. The Art of Jim Starlin is out there through Aftershock. Go to their website. You will find art books, story descriptions, preview pages, and the diamond codes on these books to order through your local shop at AftershockComics.com. Thanks for listening. I'll probably have another episode coming out before the end of this week. And more great stuff from Word Balloon for the month of August. I can't believe the lineup already. And the guaranteed panels that I'm going to have at Terrificon. Lots of great programming. I can't wait to share it with you. Until next time, Word Balloon is a copyright feature of Shaky Productions. Copyright 2019.